What's up, everyone? I have so much to talk about. I know it's been a long while since I posted a video. I have a good excuse. I've just been playing a lot of freaking Yu-Gi-Oh! And haven't really had the time to sit there and record a video. Plus, I've been doing a lot of other projects, but I'm gonna tell you all about the last 7 weeks because it's been nuts. Okay, so I topped a 180-person event in New York at Gamer's Choice. I actually got second place, and I beat all these freaking pro players at like top YCSs, and it was like so funny because I told them like, yeah, this is my first tournament, and they were like, oh wow, but like deep down I could totally tell they were like, I can't believe I lost to this noob. And I got to meet Pack and Nim Nim and head-to-head battles and crush cards, and like overall it was such a fun experience, like, and it was personally meaningful to me because if you remember from the first episode, I talked about how I didn't think I was capable of learning a combo deck, but I really liked Drytrons. I've just been interested in them for a long time, and Cody Angeloff like told me, well, you know, anyone can learn any deck, and he encouraged me to go for it. So I freaking learned Drytrons, I got second freaking place, and I won 4 freaking boxes of Lightning Overdrive.
Silver medal. What the hell is that?
And I did make a vlog about the experience, so be sure to check it out in the description. Now, it's really nuts because 10 days before that event, I got last place at locals. I did terribly. I did so bad. And then 10 days later, I ended up getting second place in that big tournament. So I really want to emphasize that anyone can learn any deck. Like, if you really put your mind to it and you really care about the cards, then I think you can do it. So learn from my example if you can, because it's just been a huge accomplishment for me. Now, I'm going to do a breakdown of the whole tournament. So if you don't want to hear that, then just skip ahead. I have a duel with Jesse Cotton towards the end, but if you would like to hear about it, let's do this. Okay, so round 1 was against Drytrons. And if you don't know, Drytron mirror matches are the metaphorical equivalent of watching paint dry. They are so goddamn boring. Like, you might as well just show each other your opening hands and figure out who wins based upon that. And so I won game 1 because he couldn't break my board. He wins game 2 because I couldn't break his board. And game 3, he lets me set up my board without interruption.
Big mistake.
I had the classic Herald of Ultimateness, I was playing Ultimateness at the time, Link Haribo, IP Masquerena, and Beatrice. Needless to say, I won that game. And afterwards, he told me, you know, he's gone to Nationals twice, and he did misplay, but he said I played perfectly. That was a great start, so that was super dope. My second opponent is at Ignister. And I know a little bit based on what Pac said. He's like, interrupt Link 1, don't let them get the field spell, or the Link 3, and don't let them make the Link 6. Game 1, I brick, and he goes full combo, and then game 2, I brick, but he bricks 2, and I win. And then game 3, he goes first, he sets 4 and passes, and then he activates 2 imperms during my turn, but I'm still able to set up a board. And then he draws a card, says it's not a starter, and just concedes. 2-0 at this point, and then my third opponent was Trap Eldritch. I win game 1 because I negated all of his cards. He won game 2 because he was using like Torrential Tribute and my arch nemesis, Solemn Strike. And then during game 3, I summoned Draconids and attacked for significant damage and win in time. Round 4 was again with Eldritch, but he had Dragoon as well. And guess what? I'm at table 1! Oh my god! Can't remember too much of the details because I was getting flashback of my first experience with Dragoon, where I did cry on stream, and it is documented in my Road to YCS. It's okay. But we go to game 3, and my Borosword allows me to OTK, and I've never been happier that I chose Borosword over Access Code. We are 4-0 at this point, and then round 5 is against Altergeist, which is another arch nemesis of mine, but I'm still at table 1, so that's dope. It was like super hot in this tournament, and it like smelled really bad, but at table 1, we were right under the AC, so it was like super dope. It was like I could be here forever, and that was the goal, right? But yeah, he did really well. I bricked on a bunch of ghost spells. I was playing them at the time. And then he resolves Torrential Tribute using his monsters 3 times. And I get 2-0'd and my winning streak is gone. And afterwards, my opponent explained that he specifically designed the deck to beat Drytron because he had such a bad matchup with it. So he's like, don't feel bad. But he was a very skilled player. He did great. Round 6 was no fairy Drytron Dragoon. So he didn't play any of the fairies, like Diviner or anything like that. He was playing like Manju, and he was playing Dragoon and Necros and stuff. And then we were in game 3, and then 5 seconds before time is called, I concede the game knowing that if he had more time, he would have won. To be fair, I didn't realize there were only 5 seconds left. I just kind of thought about it. I said I was going to end my turn, but I said, you got it. And then the bell rang, and I was like, oh. But, I don't know. I felt really bad at the time. Like, it could have been a draw, but I feel like I did the right thing, Like, I wasn't going to win if he had any more time. But I'm, like, pretty upset at this point. Because I think, like, I can't top. But there was 1 round left. I was like, let me just finish it out. What's the big deal? And so I go against my old deck, Invoke Shaddolls. My opponent sets up a full board and summons Winda. But by some miracle, I had 2 Drytrons, Draconids, and the Ritual spell in my starting hand. So I use that as my 1 special summon and clear his board. And, like, at that point, I was, like, really happy that I was playing 2 ritual spells because I was drawing it, and that was really helpful. And I'm able to 2-0 the opponent, just based on my knowledge from piloting the deck, and, that's Swiss. So then I'm sitting with Pac and the other content creators as top 16 are announced. 5th place goes to Logan from Crush Cars, and, like, everyone started cheering because it's like, oh, that's so dope. The crowd just goes wild, and then 6th place, and 7th place, and 8th place, and 9th place, and 10th place, and then 11th place, they say my name, and the room starts cheering.
Who are you talking about?
11, we have Zara Khan.
Nice! Let's go, Zara.
12, we have Hani Jamari.
I'm saying, oh my god, holy I can't believe I made top 16, and I get hugs from people around me, and I just start downing, like, water and bananas and energy bar just to get me through the top 16, and it was super. Now, as for top 16, I got paired with Logan, and we're like, okay, there's a mathematical reason for this, but at the same time, it feels like they just put the 2 girls together. And she's playing Invoke Dogmatica Eldritch, and so I see the so familiar sight of normal summoning Alistair, but I have the bell to negate the invocation. She summons Maximus and activates the effect, but I was playing 2 Arclights at the time, so I just sent both. I got the Ritual spell, and I got Draconids, and same thing happened where I special summoned the Draconids, and then I'm ready to clear the board, but then she negates with Fleur. And then I attack into the window. Then on her turn, I send Fleur and Maximus just in case she was going to activate Maximus again. And eventually I win that game. And then game 2, I summon Draconids again. And she's trying to figure out a way around it. But the thing is, Draconids can't be targeted by monster effects. So, she tries to target with Entus, but, it can't be targeted by monster effects. And eventually she does concede, and it was just like a really, really good match. Like, Logan is such a good player, and she's such a sweet person, and Brian's pretty dope too. Brian's really dope. Not pretty dope, he's really dope. So it just sucked that, only one of us could advance, but, we had a great match, and it was awesome. My next match, top 8, was Trickstar Dragoon. So I heard about this guy that basically he does the combo with Trickstar where you activate Reincarnation and then you activate Droll, so that way you banish your whole hand and then you can't draw again. And that he was doing a lot of burn damage to win in time, and I was like, okay, whatever. And also he summoned Dragoon as well. I won the first game, and then during the second game, he summons a Dragoon that eventually had 5,000 attack. but I bait out the negates, I make Borosword, and I attack for game. And I am so happy I chose Borosword over Access Code. I think that was the right decision. It freaking saved my life so many goddamn times. Now we're in the semifinals, where I'm going against Drytron, but they're playing Herald of Perfection. His name was Blake something. He won like 2 LCSs and has many other accomplishments that I don't remember because I found out afterwards. But yeah, like game 1, I build a board he can't break. Game 2, he builds a board I can't break. And like, I try to be very serious during tournaments because I don't want people to like get information about me just from me talking. But I had to make the joke. I had to say, man, these Drytron mirror matches are just so riveting. And he cracked up. And then game 3 was just nuts. So like, I go first. I activate Instant Fusion to summon the Millennium Eyes Restrict, you know, the second call by the grave. And then I add Benton, and he activates Droll and Lockbird. And I activate Millennium Eyes, and then he discards 2 Orange Lights to negate the Millennium Eyes. And then I discard an Orange Light and an Eva to negate his Orange Light. Then my Eva activates, I get Diviner, I go full combo, he has 2 cards left in hand, and I am victorious, which was like such a cool experience. He was a really sweet guy. I told him like, dude, have you ever done a tournament before? Because this is my first one. And he was like, wow, you're so good. And I was like, thank you, oh my god. I don't know, everyone was so freaking nice. Not everyone, but you know, most people were really freaking nice. And then the finals is against Carter Wicks, and he is playing Sky Striker, which was by far the most difficult matchup of mine. And keep in mind, I wasn't playing Dragoon in this build, and so DD Crow was also a big thing. So he was playing 3 Crow, 2 Shark Cannon, and then in games 2 and 3, he also had Cycle Reader, and so like, Sky Striker was just very difficult to beat at the time. And there were all these pro players that were watching the game, and I was like feeling really nervous, and I won the die roll, but I thought that Sky Striker likes to go second, so I made him go first, which was not a good idea. And I lose, and then I again chose to make him go first. In retrospect, I really should have been like, oh, that didn't work, let me go first. But, you know, what can you do? You know, he draws Engage, he has so much momentum, he banishes all my Drytrons with his 2 Shark Cannons and Cycle Reader, and I just concede because there's nothing I can freaking do. And I put my head to the table. I was just like, after 11 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh, I was unable to win, but I'm also so happy the tournament is finally over. And he tells me afterwards that his build was going first, so I should not have let him go first, but he was happy enough to let me record a deck profile, so that's something that you can check out if you're interested in that. So yeah, that was a really cool experience. I want to give a shout out to Gamer's Choice because freaking, like, it was like 11 o'clock. I was trying to get home, but my Uber and Lyft apps weren't working, and like there weren't any cabs around, so I was basically stranded. And Gamer's Choice actually like ordered an Uber for me and made sure that I got home safe, and it was just like such a nice gesture that you know, I was really appreciative. So yeah, shout out to Gamer's Choice, thank you so much. Then a week later, I entered my first YCS, the Remote Duel YCS, and I scrubbed out so hard. I just couldn't believe I got second place. It's like, I'd only been playing competitively for like 6 months. I didn't know the Drytron deck that well, and, you know, I was like, well, I didn't face any, you know, Tri-Brigade or Virtual World, or, so it just got in my head that it's like, oh, I didn't, you know, just kind of like that imposter syndrome. You know, it's not literally a syndrome, but that sentiment where I just couldn't believe that I had an accomplishment. And, you know, mentally I was not there. I was making poor choices. I was doing so badly, I ended up dropping just because I just wasn't doing well. And it was quite sad. I was very disappointed as that was my first, you know, YCS. But I worked on my list, and in the course of 7 weeks, I won locals 6 times, and I topped almost every other time as well. I got second place in this sketchy cash tournament. I won $300. I did the extravaganza. I did get 37th place, which I'm not like super proud of, but you can't top them all. And one thing that I really want to emphasize is that, like, even though you lose, you can learn a lot. You can freaking learn a lot. I almost feel like I learn more when I lose than when I win. And I think that's something really valuable to remember. Like, just because you lose doesn't mean that, you lost everything. So yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like if I was an anime character, I would be like Joey. Like, I'm definitely improved at the game, but I'm like stuck in the second place curse. And so, yeah, that's a summary of the tournaments. And in other news, my Heart of the Cards tournament was like super freaking fun. We raised $2,169 for the charity NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness. And fun fact, if your donation ends in 69, there is no incentive you can possibly provide that would make people donate to change that number. So the premise of the tournament was that you start the duel with one card in hand, and the ban list was determined by community donations, and we kind of forgot to hit Prank Kids Meow Meow, so about half the decks were Prank Kids. And yeah, we had like a bunch of goofy plays. We had really creative decks. We saw how broken Painful Choice was. You might even say it was a painful choice to remove it from the ban list. I hate myself, dude, sometimes. And it was such a great game. So yeah, I also hit 3,000 Twitch followers. I hit 3,000 YouTube subs. My Twitter is at 7,000 now. And I'm really looking to do more tournaments with prizing. I would like to do them, something like every month. And shout out to Plus One Gaming, my sponsor, for providing the prizing for that sort of thing. And it's actually nuts because I'm getting close to partner. So please check out my streams. Please, I beg you get to see all of this in development. I stream 3 times a week. And so if you're curious as to how I'm doing in between like the 2 months that I published Road to YCS episodes, you can check it out on Twitch. So at this link below. And lastly, I started a podcast called Becoming a First Rate Duelist, where I interview pro players and MBT. And one person I interviewed was Jesse Cotton, and I actually did a duel with him that I'm going to narrate, plus he's had some feedback after the duel that he gave me. So just stick around for great advice. Thank you for all your support. Let's get into the duel, and always believe in the heart of the cards. I don't know. I need like a conclusion besides like, oh, sub to me, follow me, comment, like, etc. But, from the bottom of my heart, I really want to thank you all for the support because you guys have freaking helped me out so much. Alright, so I won the dice roll, which is pretty dope. How do you win with a 3? I'm not quite sure, but I did. I opened up pre-prep and it resolved, which is like super sick because that lets me set up perfection quite early to deal with any sort of hand traps that I might get. So I'm summoning the Inviter because I need to get the Ben 10 for me to activate the Dawn of the Herald. And he doesn't have anything, so I'm kind of wondering like why he's not interrupting me. I guess maybe he didn't open any hand traps or anything like that. But I add the Ben 10, and then I can go ahead, activate Dawn of the Herald, tribute the Ben 10, summon Perfection, then Chain Link 1, Ben 10, Chain Link 2, banish the Dawn to add Ben 10 back to my hand. So I've chain blocked the Ben 10, and I'm about to abuse, I wouldn't want to say I want to abuse Ben 10, but let's just say I'm going to have multiple meetings with Ben 10. Also, I apologize that my graveyard and deck are not in this because I don't know how to do a setup, I guess. So we go ahead. Fun fact, Perfection is level 6, so I go ahead and overlay with Beatrice. I know that I had a couple orange lights in hand just in case something came up. And then I basically didn't have a piece, so I sent Zeta with Beatrice. And then I was able to get the Fafnir and make my plays that way. So it's not a problem to freaking, use Perfection for overlay because I knew that I could just, get it back type of a thing. And so, summon the Ben 10. I have Gamma engraved, so I tribute it, triggered the Ben 10 again. So I'm feeling pretty good at this point. I add Fairy to the hand. And then I go ahead and activate, let's see, I guess I'm thinking here. So I activate the Meteonus, so I detach, and then I summon the Perfection. So I've got like plenty of negates. I was not playing Dragoon at this time, and so I just set up Linkuriboh and IP, Beatrice, and Perfection. Set 1, I'm pretty sure that was just a bluff. I can't really remember, but I don't play any traps or anything like that. It might be a call by the grave. We'll see what's up. So then I go ahead and use Beatrice to send Eva so I can get some more fairies in the hand. So at this point I have quite a few fairies in my hand. And so I am just kind of seeing what's up. He's playing Crusadia Dragon Link. I don't know anything about the Crusadia cards. I know some about Dragon Link, but I wouldn't say I'm like a pro at it or things like that. So what he's going to do is he's going to normal summon that, and I didn't know what it did, so I'm asking for clarification, and so I'm just like, I don't freaking know what to do, but I got the idea like, maybe I should just shuffle it back, because, I don't know, then he uses normal summon, I don't know, I didn't know what to do, I just kind of went for it, and so I'm thinking at this point, trying to figure out what to do, and then I was like, screw it, and then I activated IP, summoned Unicorn, discarded one, shuffled back, and then he goes ahead and concedes. So I was like, alright, that was a scary one, but now we're going on to game 2. Game 2 is pretty good, so he goes first. Again, I don't really know what his deck does, so I'm definitely gonna make some misplays. But he activates Ravine, you know, he's sending Abservator so he can add Tracer to the hand, he sends Safer probably so he can, you know, banish it later to get some back. And then he normals some monster, I don't know what it is, I'm sorry, into Striker Dragon. And keep in mind, this is post-ban list, so there's only one Striker Dragon and LP is banned type of a thing. So he activates Quick Launch and he summons Tracer. And then he activates the effect to, and at this point I'm trying to figure out what to do. So I'm trying to get clarification. So I decide to negate with Barnes Light and Eva. And then Eva, I banish for cost, and then he's thinking about what to do. So then I add the Diviner to my hand, type of a thing. So I think he had Brotar in hand, so he's able to summon it. And then he's gonna discard in order to add a Dark Dragon or something like that. I don't freaking know. And so I figure, like, the reason I negated the Tracer is because I felt like if he was going through to pop the boot, I figured he was, like, out of, you know, extenders. And he only had 2 cards in hand, so that's why I went for it. And so I didn't know he had the Brotar in hand, so that kind of, like, wasn't good, because then he added the Black Dragon. So then he made Seal, he gets the White Dragon. And then in my hand, I actually have Nibiru, so I'm trying to figure out the best time to Nibiru, because I did not freaking know. And so, yeah, we're just talking at this point as I'm trying to analyze the situation. Oh, wait, sorry, I did not have Nibiru in my hand. Wait, I don't know what's happening. I guess it's my turn. He ends on Seal and Boot. Okay, so then, I send Entis to target the Seal, and then he bounces the Diviner, and then he's gonna special summon some Crusadia monster that I don't frickin' know what it does. And so I'm asking, like, oh, if it goes to the grave, does anything happen? So then I go ahead and activate Meteonus. I tribute Gamma to summon Edaton. I guess I did not have that great of a hand. And I think, yeah, the Brotar is vanished at this point. Yeah, so I had to end on Edaton, which is, you know, not very good. Plus his boot. Yeah, so he summons a Crusadia monster, and then he summons another Crusadia Link monster, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm not quite sure what's in my hand right now or what's going on, but I guess it's not that great. So then he summons the White Dragon, and then Crusadia Link is going to activate because something was summoned. And then he's gonna go ahead and make Pisty, and then he's gonna summon the Crusadia monster, and then he's gonna activate, let's see. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, so yeah, here's what, I had the Nibiru. And so, at this point I Nibiru'd. I do think I should have waited longer, but I think I was concerned he was maybe gonna make Appaloosa or something like that. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, so 33 attack, defense is 2000, so I put in defense. And I'm hoping he doesn't have anything that he can extend with by this point. But as you will see, he still had the boot, and so he was able to summon the Tracer, and he's able to pop the token to summon and continue with the plays. So I think in retrospect, I probably should have waited a bit longer to do the Nibiru. I don't think I necessarily needed to do it right away, type of a thing. So he uses Chaos Ruler's effect, and I'm just asking kind of clarifying questions about Chaos Ruler. And so, yeah, he's banishing Chaos Face, and then he crashes with my Nibiru token, and then, we're kind of in a weird spot as neither of us has any cards, or on the field. Okay, so I have my Diviner, which I go ahead, and then summon the Arclight. I should have Gamma Engrave at this point, if I remember correctly. So I did add the Ben 10, and then he draws me. And I'm like, oh god. And so Gamma attributes the Ben 10. And then he cycle readers my Ben 10 and my Gamma. So I'm pretty sure I realize it's over at this point. And so, yeah, I think, I asked him if he's gonna kill me. And we will see what's up. So we go ahead summons using the field spell. And then I imagine I didn't have any other Drytrons in hand. I don't think there was a way for me to play around Cycle Reader, but you never know. Okay, so he has quick launch. At this point I'm like really thinking about just scooping. He normal summons a Crusadia monster, and then he reveals Danger Nessie, and then is able to add, and then he uses Jackalop's effect to discard and then special summon, and then he summons Needle Fiber, and I'm like, dude, it's over. So definitely, I'm just kind of watching at this point because it's like I don't really know how his deck works, and I'm like, oh, maybe we can, figure it out. So yeah, that's game. He banishes 2 to bring back Chaos Ruler, and he OTKs me. So that was game 3. It was really interesting. I think I might have played it a little differently if I could go back and do it again, especially with that Nibiru timing, which I wish that I let him commit more resources before I did the Nib, but I don't know, I was just freaked out and stuff. So we go ahead and add the freaking Zeta. Just because I was like, if he draws me, that's what's up. And I do have pre-prep again, so I can add the Perfection and the Dawn. Then I activate Alpha Tribute Zeta to get the Ben 10. And then I'm going to activate Dawn at this point. And so I activate Dawn, I tribute the Ben 10, summon Perfection, Ben 10 Chainlink 1, Dawn Chainlink 2, Chainlink 3 Cycle Reader. But then I kind of banished it, and then I was like, wait a second, I have a fairy in hand. And so I asked him if I could negate it, and he was like, yeah, you can do that. It will negate it. Okay, and then he's explaining at this point, if I can activate, yeah, so he was saying that he had a Cycle Reader at this point, hoping that I didn't have a fairy in hand, and he was explaining, if, Benton's already activated and it gets banished, then you still get the effect type of a thing. But thankfully I had a fairy in hand, type of thing. So thank you, Jesse, for letting me do a take back, because I totally would have lost if you hadn't let me do that. So then I go ahead and do Zeta, and at this point, this video is just going to get really boring. I add the Eva just in case he has something else, so I can get more fairies in the hand. But at this point, I'm feeling like, okay, he's kind of on his computer, so maybe he is pretty good. So activate the Meteonus, go ahead, summon the Benten, add back, and then I use Gamma, tribute the Benten. So tribute the Benten, activate the Benten and get another fairy to hand. So I add Lancia just because I'm like, I have plenty of fairies, and I think that stops Dragon Link at to some degree. So I was like, whatever, I'll add Lancia type of a thing. And then I'll normal summon the Diviner at this point. Not quite sure. Yeah, and then I have Editon that I add from the frickin' Arclight. And then I make Linkuriboh to make room for the Editon effect to add back the ritual spell. Go ahead, overlay for Beatrice. Then I go ahead and send an Eva from the deck to the grave in order to banish 2 to add 2 more fairies to my hand, which is pretty dope. I'm feeling pretty good. I have the protection from perfection. I have Beatrice. I have a lot going on. So I go ahead and summon IP. And then I'm pretty sure I'm bluffing with this set one. So he draws. He's trying to see if I have. And then I'm like freaking out because I was like, wait, did I just be Jesse Cotton type of a thing? So yeah, that was a pretty cool experience. So yes, shout out to Jesse Cotton for just being a freaking awesome person and, taking time to help a young duelist grow. So I'm going to include some of the feedback we had afterwards where he talked about what I could have done differently. And so I really hope you enjoy that. Okay. Wait, did I just beat Jesse Cotton, guys? It was more of a die roll type of thing, though. Did I Nibiru at the right spot?
No, I guess. Yeah, no. So I guess you let me commit a little bit more, because what I'm going to do next is set up arrows like this. So I turn the Striker Dragon and the Draco into this up top, and then I target with this. Now, if I target something you don't want me getting back, you Nibiru here, and the monster doesn't come back because I don't have the zones anymore. Oh. And it just forces me to. It just makes me burn 1 more card on my extra deck. But if it's a card you don't care about and doesn't force any interrupts from you, then you can wait even longer until I burn more cards, right? Because I do have multiple pushes left on my extra deck at this point. I still had Quad Boar, I still had Appaloosa, I still had Savage Dragon. So there was no shortage of stuff for me to do. Or I still had Hawk of Fibrax. So I really only used Seal and like Striker Dragon. So considering the game is likely to go a little bit longer, you do want to see if you can juice any more value out of it. It likely wouldn't have, because I would have gone Pisty, target Brotar, at which point you have 2 options. You can Nibiru here, and I don't get the Brotar back, or you can do it on the Brotar, and when I target with Brotar, you can Nibiru there, and I still have to discard, but I don't search, because there's nothing on field for me to add with the same type anymore. Oh. So I'd lose a card. However, if you do that, it puts the Brotar back in my grave, meaning if you expect the game to last longer, it means the Brotar can be used again when a monster of mine is destroyed. But either way, if you didn't want me getting the Brotar back, you could have just done it on the Pisty here, and it would have been the exact same situation, but lower stats, and I burn this as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So something I actually think you could have done as well with that, with your turn 1 field there, is you already had all the fairies you needed. You could have instead sent Eva off Diviner, because you had another Diviner in the grave, and the Benten's not really important. And the becomes level 3, so you can sync her with the Drytron and end on a Herald and Arclight on the field. Oh. So that means I can't. So that's important as well, because it means I can't draw phase Droplet you, or I have to get the Herald off the field first, because Herald says I can't send cards in my hand or deck to the graveyard, so I can't use Droplet. Oh. So I have to go to my battle phase first, or force that out first. And you would have had the IP as well still, so you just have 1 extra layer. And when the Herald goes, it adds a fairy from your deck to your hand, so it's another negate off Herald, the perfection of field as well. So it could have been like obviously that field is broken, but not fully optimized. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I never thought about that, honestly. That's pretty cool. Thank you.
No problem.
Chat, can we get some
Good.
emotes and thank yous for Desi, please? Yeah. So, hey, what's up? I saw you yesterday as well. So yeah. That's pretty much it. I don't have any more questions or anything like that. Do you have any questions for me?
Sure, I'll ask a couple.
Okay.
So you said you've been playing for a couple months now, right?
Yeah, I started playing competitively in January.
Was this New York tournament the first time you got to travel?
Yeah.
You like that?
Oh, I loved it. It was fun. I got to meet Pat
Oh.
and a bunch of my other friends. And yeah, it was really fun. I got to meet all these people, and then a bunch of people like know me from Twitter and stuff, and so they said hi. And it was just a really, really fun experience. And it was my first big tournament. It was cool that I was able to get second, and it gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah, traveling is honestly the best aspect of the game for me.
Yeah.
Did you spend any time in New York besides, I guess, just the tournament?
Yeah, I hung out because I have friends who live in New York, so I hung out with them, and we went to the park, and we played card games, and we had picnics and stuff like that. So that was really fun. Like, I generally only travel if I actually have friends I can stay with, just so I have people to hang out with, and it's fun to do that. So
I think as you continue to play and get used to the community, you'll have more and more people to go to events with.
yeah.
I know it's a big leap, but traveling overseas has been the best experiences for me, just trip-wise.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend that. It's obviously don't want to do it by yourself.
Yeah, I want to go to YCS London because I have a bunch of friends in that area, and I think it'd be really fun. But I am
London's
scared to
nice.
travel alone.
Yeah, so I started traveling overseas originally because I decided I was going to start flying to YCSs more when I turned after Worlds 2017. Before then, I'd only ever gone to ones that I can drive to.
Oh.
And one of the first ones for me to fly to was Dallas. So I booked my flight, and it was really expensive for me, 700 Canadian. Then I checked, and flights to London, which were a week later, were actually cheaper. So I said, hey, well, if I'm justifying this flight to Dallas for more, I can fly to London.
Oh, man.
And that started me going overseas, and it was really cool. And I'm very happy I did.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I can definitely recommend seeing all the different stuff, meeting even more new people.
Yeah, because I do stand-up comedy and public speaking, too. So I travel a lot for those
That's cool.
reasons. I mean, I would have traveled, obviously, if COVID wasn't a thing. I would have traveled a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just scared to travel alone, because, yeah, but I'm going to take some self-defense classes, because there are plenty of people in the community that don't like me. So, I'm going to hit up a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym.
People are pretty. There's no one really that aggressive. I found in real life, people are pretty easygoing.
Yeah,
I think.
one guy contacted my locals and is trying to get me banned. And
Okay. Well, maybe internet is rougher, but I'm less involved in this side of the game, I guess.
yeah, but it's all good. I think it's kind of funny, and yeah. Yeah, this was really cool. So you played what, Crusadia Dragon Link?
Yeah, this is a Crusadia Dragon Link deck. It plays really well into Tri-Brigade fields because all the Crusadias don't activate when they summon themselves, so they play into Appaloosa very well. And this is what I mean by when your effects get negated on the field, there's still bodies to work with. So when you have all your Crusadias activate on the field and they negate with Apollo, you'll still have the bodies on field to look into. So you can make Starlight Hawk a Fibrax because they have tuners, or you can make Striker Dragon because one's a dragon, or you can make Nightmare Phoenix to draw a card because it's co-linked. And you start using the bodies efficiently, and they actually end up losing out on value pretty fast. So that's what this deck is built for, and when it goes first, it can play pretty well as well. It goes second pretty poorly with any other actual combo deck, though. So like this, obviously cannot play through a perfection.
Yeah.
Game one, if you had made Apollo instead of Unicorn, I could have played through it, but so
Oh, I see.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, I don't have Appaloosa in here.
Yeah, I don't actually play it either in my deck, but
Yeah.
in the Drytron deck, but yeah.
Yeah, I gotta put Dragoon in though. I'm doing a $1,000 tournament tomorrow, so I imagine it's gonna be pretty competitive. It's just the bricking that makes me nervous. But yeah, is it true that if you like Dragoon is better with 42 cards or something like that, or 43? Is that like true?
Theoretically, yes, but the difference is marginal. So, I mean, the people's logic behind that is that by playing more cards, the chance of drawing those bricks goes down. But it's pretty minimal.
Okay.
You're still decreasing the consistency of your deck. In the past, when I've put extra bricks in my deck, what I've done is increase the card count by more, and I've increased my number of engine cards as well, so the ratio stays the same. It means drawing hand traps as well, so to make your deck still very consistent. So, for example, I played Goki. I wanted to add a couple more non-engine cards. I wanted to add one more non-engine card, so I added 4 more consistency pieces to the deck and played 45. And it keeps the consistency the exact same, but it means the random one-ofs that aren't your engine pieces, like at that time Soul Charge, or now it would be your side deck stuff like Droll, those go down, which is not desirable. So you have to find a balance.
Okay.
I think as far as 43 and Dragoon goes, that shouldn't be the reason to play 43.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. People tell me all this kind of stuff, and I just don't know what's correct. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I really like this deck. It's giving me a lot of confidence, for sure.
It's good. Yeah, confidence is important.
I want to be on Yu-Gi-Oh!
It'll
TV.
definitely serve well. They don't actually have Twitch for that many events, so
Yeah.
it's remote still stops. I wonder if they'll start doing live streams for every YCS like they do in Europe. But in North America, it's written feature matches for the most part. It has been.
Oh, okay. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. It'd be cool to do you again in a couple months when I get better and have a different deck.
For sure.
So I'll hit you up. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. You're a very awesome, great guy, and I really appreciate it. So yeah.
Problem. Thank you for having me, and hope you continue to get better and see success.
Okay. Thanks, Jesse. Bye.